This video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Welcome to Electrified, it's your host Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my new or updated patrons Haim G, Randy K, Laura S, and Don B. Thank you all for choosing to support the channel. The final CPCA data for Shanghai in July came out, and for the month, the total came in at 28,217. Remember, the factory was essentially shut down for half the month due to line upgrades. It's being reported after these upgrades, Giga Shanghai should have a production capacity of around 3,200 per day. That would be made up of 2,200 Model Y and 1,000 Model 3. Both of these lines should have completed the upgrades as of yesterday, Monday, August 8th. So if we give them the rest of August to ramp up production, putting us into September, which has 30 days, multiply that by 3,200 per day, production capacity next month of 96,000. This, in my opinion, is what you should already be focusing on. A company called Domination has released a new leveraged Tesla single stock ETF with the ticker TSLL. I hesitated to even mention this, but I know some of you out there are pretty sharp with leverage, so it may be worth putting on your radar. Just quickly for anyone maybe new to investing, financial leverage just means using borrowed money to earn higher returns while using less of your own capital up front. The way it works with these leveraged single stock ETFs, the fund may borrow money or use derivatives like options or futures. This investment vehicle really is a tool for day traders and hedging. Leveraged ETFs usually have around 100 bips or basis points or 1% higher fees than an unlevered counterpart, plus they reset their leverage every single day. So it amplifies daily returns, not annual returns. And remember, negative returns are always more impactful on a per unit basis. A 20% decrease followed by a 20% increase leaves you in the red, and this effect is only amplified with these levered ETFs. Just an aside, some of you know, last year I spent around 9 months working on opening a hedge fund. In my months of research of brokers to use, Interactive Brokers was hands down one of the best for more serious investors and traders. So I'll drop a link below if you want to check them out, but a lot more on them in the future. Model Ys coming out of Giga Shanghai and actually Giga Berlin now have a new side airbag. It's installed on the inside of the driver's seat back in order to reduce contact injuries between front passengers in a possible side impact. The Shanghai Model Ys have a total of 7 airbags, and once again, the Berlin-made Model Y has that same additional airbag. Model Ys in the United States don't yet have this new one, but they do have a right side front airbag and a knee airbag that the Chinese-made vehicles do not. Lately, Tesla's been implementing new features in the Chinese market first and then rolling it out globally after that. While Tesla continues to save more lives, it's also doing some killing of its own.
Tesla sales, they continue to surge in California. I mean, honestly, leave competition in the electric dust. Phil LeBeau has that story. Phil, Tesla's is killing it.
They are killing it, Brian. And the reason this is important is because California is the #1 auto market in the country. It is the most competitive market. Tesla's always done well there, but they have taken it to a new level in the first half of this year. This is new data from the California New Car Dealers Association. These are the #1 models overall, not just among EVs, but overall. Model Y is #1, Model 3 #2. The Tesla brand sales up 82%. So when you take a look at overall brands, Tesla has jumped from #10 all the way up to #2. Toyota's #1 with 17.9% market share. There you see Ford and Honda. Bottom line is this, guys. California is where you make your hay. It's where you can say, we can win in California, we can win anywhere.
Real quick, I think if more of us knew the extent to which our online activity was being tracked, then the sponsor of today's video would pretty much be a no-brainer. So shout out to Surfshark for giving me peace of mind now for the last year or so. And thanks to my guy Matt Ferrell at Undecided for putting me onto this in the first place. If you don't know, Surfshark is a VPN which encrypts or protects your personal info anywhere you use the internet. Basically, it gives you your online privacy back and protects you from hackers and phishing attempts. But it does much more than just that. Surfshark can make your IP address look like it's coming from a different country, so you can stream video from locations around the world, bypassing geo restrictions and unlocking new content. This may also help you find better deals on flights and hotels as well. The user interface is simple, clean, and most importantly, incredibly easy to use. Surfshark is also one of the only VPNs to allow one account on an unlimited number of devices, which yes, is a big plus for the Loomises. Surfshark also has a clean web feature that will block ads, trackers, and malware to prevent those phishing attempts. So if you'd like to protect your personal data, take back your online privacy, and get access to many other features, you can use my code Electrified to get 83% off and 3 extra months free. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's actually no risk to try this for yourself. The link is in the description below. This was a really good article on Substack by Ash Jafari. Full thing will be linked below, just going over the quick highlights. We know the market opportunity for robotaxis is going to be massive. No one would really argue against that. One hurdle in getting to this market would be expanding AI geographically, and as most of us know, Tesla is doing this better than any of the competition, with Cruise and Waymo very geographically limited. Then to have robotaxis in volume and have them be electric, of course you need batteries, and Tesla is a world leader in this category. Once again, you can't really argue it. Then if you have the batteries, you still need to manufacture the vehicles, and who's the best at vehicle manufacturing right now? I think those in the know would mostly argue Tesla. Most importantly, somehow, as always, you have to make money doing this. Who has the best industry-leading operating margins? The answer is Tesla, and it's based in data. You can't really argue it. And then having those higher operating margins gives you the flexibility to cut prices if you need to further drive adoption. From a high level, when you look at it like that, who's winning the self-driving race? Well, it may actually already be over. Everybody relax, it's kind of just a tongue-in-cheek comment. On Twitter, Gary Black shared some charts. We've actually gone over all of these in prior videos. I just want to highlight that Elon said in response to this, growing at 50% per year requires an insane amount of work, but it's achievable with outstanding execution. Canaccord's George Janarikis may be a little slow on the uptake here, but better late than never. He just took a tour of the Fremont factory and was mesmerized. Said he was impressed with Tesla's ability to push the boundaries. While macroeconomic factors and recent price increases can impact order rates, we estimate Tesla's EV momentum and competitive lead from manufacturing, materials procurement to autonomy is secured for some time. With additional offerings in solar, energy storage, and more to come, Tesla remains the sustainability behemoth. One main differentiator that George cited, Tesla's manufacturing proficiency. Tesla is years ahead of its rivals with regards to working out idiosyncrasies in building EVs versus ICE while managing a new supply chain reality. Welcome to the party, George. We're happy to have you. Ford might have pulled off a little chess move here. Release the F-150 Lightning at a base price of $40,000, generate all kinds of headlines and good press, but all the while knowing that in a few weeks it was going to have to increase the prices. Now, that comment has no basis in facts or data, that's just my own speculation. Ford, citing obvious reasons for these between $6,000 and $8,500 price increases depending on the model, said these will not impact current reservation holders. Here are the new starting prices, which unfortunately does not include the dealer markups that have been somewhat of an issue for Ford. And these price increases are coming just days ahead of Ford opening up its orders again for the F-150 Lightning. Remember, a few months ago, they shut them down, citing too much demand, set to open up this week. And starting this fall, Ford just said that F-150 Lightnings with the standard battery, they're expected to increase by 10 miles of range up to 240. Here you're looking at some superchargers with Starlink poles right next to them at Giga Berlin, of course with some Model Ys and some Giga castings. I need to explain why my comments yesterday about the new $80 billion for the IRS, why those were not political rhetoric. Let me preface this by saying I'm really not political. If you've been here for any amount of time, you most likely know this. I don't view the world through Republican or Democrat glasses. Personally, my goal is to have truth glasses and to view things objectively. With that said, I do believe the government is too big and that there's an unacceptable level of corruption across government ranks on both sides of the aisle. Don't forget, this all started with a bill to monitor all of our bank accounts for transactions over $600 annually. Let's start with the title of this bill, the Inflation Reduction Act. The Penn-Wharton budget model concluded this referring to this Inflation Reduction Act. The act would very slightly increase inflation until 2024 and decrease inflation thereafter. These point estimates are statistically indistinguishable from zero, thereby indicating low confidence that the legislation will have any impact on inflation. Even economists that didn't agree with the Wharton model said there will be very little effect in reducing inflation over the next 6 months, and this is basically agreed upon by most economists. Now, specifically for my comments on the $80 billion for the IRS, a portion of which will go to more enforcement, aka more audits. Last year, the top 1% of taxpayers by income were audited at a rate of 1.56%. Earned income tax credit recipients, those who typically have annual income under $20,000, were audited at a 1.41% rate. It's also factual that low-income taxpayers can be audited far more easily. Think about it. All it takes is a letter instead of a team of investigators and lawyers. It's way cheaper and much faster to audit low-income earners and just to do it in higher volumes. IRS spokesman Dean Patterson acknowledged that the sharp decline in audits of the wealthy is due to the agency having lost so many skilled auditors, and he didn't dispute that pursuing the poor is just easier. In 2021, per the audit rate per 1,000 returns, it was 5 times higher for the lowest income wage earners. In case you're saying, Dylan, in the bill they're saying this won't have any impact on taxpayers making less than $400,000. To that I would say pay attention to the detail. In that section, as you can see, nothing in this section is intended. The key operative word here is intended. This just leaves the door wide open for them to ultimately do whatever they want to do, and this one word gives them that legal green light. How often do we all have intentions that we don't ultimately follow through on? This table is from the Joint Committee on Taxation. This is a bipartisan organization. Now, this document is a few years old, but this data should stay relatively the same. This table is the percentage of estimated tax assessments relating to the underreporting of Schedule C income and Schedule E income. You'll be able to answer this question quickly. Where is most of the underreporting of basic income actually happening? With people paying between $0 and $200,000 per year. Here's a simple illustration. In 2021, there were 157 million tax returns filed. Now, let's assume the IRS collects an extra $300 from each of those taxpayers. That's an extra $47.1 billion in revenue for the IRS that most people won't put up too much of a fight over. Now, compare that with the IRS trying to take around $65 million from the 724 billionaires in the United States. Who do you think is going to put up more of a fight to keep that money, and who actually has the means to lawyer up and try to do so? The path of least resistance for the IRS to generate more taxpayer revenue is to take smaller amounts in aggregate from the masses rather than targeting the wealthy. This was published by the Senate Finance Committee. It's saying the Joint Committee on Taxation, that nonpartisan organization, is estimating in 2023 taxes will increase by $16.7 billion on American taxpayers earning less than $200,000. Here's the data of where that quote came from. This is also from the Joint Committee on Taxation regarding the impact of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. So you see the income categories over here on the left, and just this column is all we need to look at. The change in federal taxes for calendar year 2023. This is what this joint committee is expecting. In millions of dollars, we'll just drop down to that last bracket up to $200,000. And that's $10.8 billion in the change or the increase in federal taxes expected. So if you add up all of the tax brackets above that, that takes you to around that $16.7 billion figure. I could go on. I'm just saying, my skepticism in the US government to tell us the truth at face value is not based in some political rhetoric because of an allegiance to a political party. It's based in the facts and the data and the way I perceive it. I fully support paying the government what it's owed. Pay to Caesar what is Caesar's. And if the IRS can crack down on people cheating on their taxes, then that's of course a good thing. The IRS is set to double its staff, adding around 87,000 employees. Even if only 75% of them are auditors, that's an additional 65,250 auditors. From that IRS-produced spreadsheet, there were 1.7 million returns filed with AGIs over $500,000. Now, historically, the audit rate for incomes over $500,000 and up to 10 million has been around 1.5%. So even if this number quadruples to 6% in 2023, which would be insane, that's still only 102,000 audits for that tax bracket in 2023. This means that just with that new batch of auditors, if they're only focused on this tax bracket like they're saying they are, then each auditor only has to do 1.6 audits per year. Basically, I'd like the government to spend less money, and when it does spend it, to have it be on problems here domestically. Homelessness, education, creating new infrastructure and jobs for the future of clean renewable energy and energy independence. And that summarizes my TED Talk for the day. To those of you who would rather listen to Elon than myself, I certainly don't blame you. Even Elon is saying in response to this article, seems high, and asks maybe investment in automation. But unless the IRS has some bots for this new 87,000 employee count, don't forget to check out Surfshark and use my code Electrified to get 83% off and 3 months free if you're in the market. Please take a second to like the video if you did. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.